Thanks for joining our second session, which is on maintaining our immune system. Today I hope to touch on foods that may support the immune system, bust some myths, and also for you to factor in that it's really just not about food. Sorry. Okay, so I want to start off with a few statements first of all. So our lungs and our gut are the most vulnerable to infection. So just bear with that thought, all right? If you think of COVID-19, it is attacking our lungs, but we also do need to think about our gut because we are ingesting food every single day to keep us fit and healthy. And approximately 70% of our immune system is actually found within our gut or our digestive system. That said, EFSA, so the European Food Safety Authority, have not approved a food or substance that claims to boost immune function. So this is really vital. There technically are no food or no item in particular that will really give you an absolute boost to boost your immune function. So what can we do then? We need to maintain a healthy, balanced diet. So the food that we ingest provides us with an array of vitamins and minerals and energy that are there to sustain good health. As we discussed last week, we also need to participate in regular exercise. So that will keep us nice and fit and healthy. It will help us to burn off excess calories, also help reduce blood pressure, cholesterol, and all the other health implications with being overweight. We need to reduce our stress levels. So, if you're feeling really stressed at work or even just about this whole situation that we are finding ourselves in at the minute, you need to learn techniques that will help you reduce your stress level and manage that. And then also maintain good sleep patterns as well. So if we start off with maintaining a healthy, balanced diet and start off from the food perspective. So the Eat Well Guide, this was devised by Public Health England, and they are saying that if you consume all the food groups in the correct proportions over the period of a day and the period of a week, you should be able to get all the nutrients that you need to stay nice, fit and healthy. Now, there's all these different food groups. So we have our potatoes, bread, rice, pasta, and starchy carbohydrates. So this is where we get our predominant source of energy, or the body's preferred source of energy. Then we have our fruits and vegetables, and they provide us with an array of vitamins and minerals. Then we come down to the beans, pulses, fish, eggs, meat, and other proteins. So this is where we'll get our predominant source of protein, but not our only source of protein within the diet. And it's really important to remember that lots of foods do contain protein. It's not just about the meat or the alternatives. And then dairy and alternatives. So alternative being the operative word here. There's a mass market now for different more plant-based products that provide or should provide the same nutritional benefits as dairy. So how do we use the Eat Well Guide? Trying to keep for all those portions, so a third of the fruit and vegetables and a third of the starchy carbohydrate foods. What else can we do using these food groups? So we need to base our meals around starchy carbohydrates, ideally opt for the whole grain varieties. These will keep you fuller for longer, as well as help your digestive tract because it helps things pass through more smoothly and adds bulk to help that pass through. We need to aim for 5 a day. So best practice is to eat a rainbow of colours. The different colours provide different vitamins and minerals in different amounts, and they also complement each other. So the best example I would say would be green leafy vegetables are a fantastic source of iron for vegetarians, however, in the form of non-heme iron, which is harder for the body to break down. If we have a glass of orange juice, which provides us with vitamin C, that vitamin C helps the body to break that iron down. So the nutrients within these mix of fruits and vegetables actually help work with one another. That said, you also don't want to consume any one nutrient or food in excess because it has potential to inhibit the absorption of another nutrient. For you as an individual, one portion is one handful. We are all different. We all have different nutrition requirements. So as an easy guide, one handful is best. We also need to include milk and dairy. However, it is important, in particular, the animal variants of this food group, so the dairy and alternatives, they're quite high in fat. So always opt for the lower fat options or the alternatives. However, do ensure that the alternatives are nutritionally complete and have the same nutritional benefit as what the milk or the dairy has. We also need to consume a variety of plant and animal-based protein. Aim for fish twice a week, one of which should be oily, so that would be foods like mackerel and salmon, and reduce red or processed meat. So red meat has been shown to increase the risk of heart attack and stroke through increasing the cholesterol, as it is quite high in saturated fat. Now, this food group does complement one another or kind of contradict in some respects, because red meat, as I said there, it increases your blood cholesterol, whereas oily fish, so your mackerel, sardines and salmon, for example, help reduce your blood cholesterol. So again, the whole overall our overarching message really is to have everything in balance and a variety as well. And then we need to limit foods high in salt and sugar. So, these tend to be our takeaways, our chocolate crisps, snacks, etc. Now, I'm not saying don't consume these at all, but do consider what you're consuming, your calorie intake for that day, and also you don't want to increase your fat, salt and sugar intake where practically possible. Now, there are specific nutrients that can help maintain or are part of the functioning of a healthy immune system. So these are just some of them below. So vitamin A, B6, B12, vitamin C, D, copper, folate, iron, selenium, and zinc. And again, if we think of back to the Eat Well guide, the fruits and vegetables, this is where we are predominantly going to get all these vitamins and minerals. Yes, in different amounts, but if you mix it up and have variety, you really should be able to get everything that you need. Don't concentrate on one specific nutrient or one specific vitamin and mineral, because, again, you could inhibit the absorption of another, and if you just concentrate on one food, your diet may be very boring. Vitamin D is an important one to mention here. So whilst it is naturally found in some foods, predominantly dairy foods, it is harder for the body to break it down, and its best source is actually sunlight. And the UK government actually recommend that as a population we consume 10 micrograms of vitamin D per day over the months of September through to April. And this is all to do with the latitude of the sun and the exposure to those rays that will help the body to absorb the vitamin D. We also need to think about our hydration when we are trying to maintain a healthy, balanced diet. So as I said last week, we are approximately made up of 60% water. And thinking logically, when we sweat, we excrete water. When, we go to the toilet, we're flushing away liquid. And our blood, that's fluid and liquid. So, our blood transports all the nutrients that we're consuming that have been digested in our gut to all our respiring body cells and tissues. When we go to the toilet, we're expelling waste from the food, that we've eaten. And that helps flush out some toxins. So it is really important that we maintain our hydration levels. So the best tip I can give you is to drink little and often throughout the day, but do watch out for the calories of those drinks that you're drinking. Aim for the non-added sugar drinks where practically possible. So, that may be the zero or the diet drinks. Now, this fact, when I was researching for this talk, interested me quite a bit. So alcohol makes up between 4 and 10% of calorie intake in drinkers. So that's actually, it's quite a lot. So we really do need to be thinking about our alcohol intake. Now, I know that we're all staying in, as by the government guidance, and we don't need to drive, so we can have a glass of wine or two. But just think about: do we really need it every night? The government recommends that we have a maximum of 14 units per week over a minimum of 3 days. And we also need to remember that actually alcohol provides us with empty calories, so there is absolutely no other nutritional benefit. And it also adds to your total added sugar per day. So that's something that we really need to factor in, because we want to maintain a healthy, balanced weight. We don't really want to be consuming masses of excess calories. Obviously, it's everything in moderation, but thinking logically, if you have one too many, when you've been out, you wake up feeling groggy, horrible, hungover the next day, that will also impact on our moods as well as our food choices for that day. Which then obviously, if they're poor food choices, then that could have a counter effect on our immune function, because we want to be basically consuming the right foods to maintain good immune function. So tip would be to aim for alcohol-free days. Drink out of a smaller glass, so you're not missing the larger glasses if you're just having a small amount, and think of the empty calories. So, whilst these are not necessarily the best examples, a glass of wine, no nutritional benefit versus a latte, same calorie content. However, the latte will have some milk, so that will give us some calcium, as well as the fact that the latte, although a diuretic like alcohol, it also provides water, which will also help us hydrate. So again, it's just about thinking logically, everything in moderation. So touching on the immune function again, and how greater than 70% of our immune system is found within our digestive tract, our bacterial layer in the gut is actually our first line of defense in fighting infections, and it is one that we can influence through the food that we eat. So how do we top up this good bacteria then? It can be achieved in 2 ways. First, by consuming live or active cultures of bacteria found in yogurt-style drinks. However, it is really important not to mistake live yogurt for these active or live cultures. Now, the difference between the two is live yogurt doesn't withstand the stomach acids, and therefore doesn't travel past the stomach into the colon where the bacteria needs to colonize. You need to look out for bifidobacteria or lactobacilli cultures, and so the strain should be stated on pack, and the number or the volume of that bacteria should be stated in pack, which should be in its billions. So an example would be lactobacilli casei shirota. So it will be there will be 3 parts to the word. You're normally quite long-winded. If you're not sure, you are entitled to ring the manufacturer to find out. Another recommendation in terms of taking these products by NICE is that you consume them for a good month singly, so you don't consume various products within that month of the different cultures of bacteria, because they all have a different effect on us all as an individual. You may feel a little bit bloated for the first couple of days, but that should level off after 4 weeks. If not, maybe start a different product. So if you started with a lactobacilli culture, perhaps move over to a bifidobacteria. They are all strain specific as well, so that's why we say or recommend that you just try one product at a time. The second way of topping up our good bacteria is consuming foods that support the growth of the good bacteria. So these really act as a fertilizer. So good examples would be garlic and onion. And again, these are foods that are commonly found, or ingredients that are commonly found in lots of dishes. So very, very easy to fit into a healthy, balanced diet. It's also important to have a good mix of fruits and vegetables to enhance the growth of the good bacteria as well. So as we discussed earlier and in last week's session, we really need to be participating in regular exercise. And the government recommend that we should aim for 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity a week or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity activity a week. So this could be 30 minutes of moderate intensity over 5 days. Of this, or of those 5 days, for example, you need to aim to have 2 days where you do some strength and conditioning training. So this is where we really strengthen our muscles and maintain our bone density as well to maintain good, strong joints. So that would be like weight-bearing exercise. And again, you don't have to have the equipment. If you do press-ups, you can use seats to kind of do the other form of press up. I can't think of the name. There's lots of ways that you can, if you look on YouTube, you'll find out further information. We also need to aim to reduce sitting down for long periods of time. So again, if you're working from home, if you're on a call, why not just walk up and down the stairs around the house and the inside or the outside, maybe do some squats. No one can see you, so it doesn't matter. But it is trying to just maintain being active. To maintain our immune system, we also need to reduce our stress levels. Sometimes this can be easier said than done, and in one of our future sessions we will discuss further tips on how to do this. But for the meantime, when we are stressed, we do produce a stress hormone called corticosteroid, which suppresses our immune system, and therefore it makes us more susceptible to some infections. Our stress can also negatively impact your mental, emotional, and physical health, which then can result in anxiety, depression, heart disease, insomnia, so not being able to sleep, as well as some digestive problems, which a lot of people wouldn't necessarily associate with stress, but it really can impact your digestive health. And there is a lot of research going on at the minute in terms of the gut-brain axis and how it can really affect our whole immune health. So something to be mindful of. Tips then, so you can use breathing techniques to calm you down, and sort of de-stress. Make sure that you do take some time out, whether that be reading, going for a walk, maybe a run. If you're really feeling overwhelmed, you can talk to someone, whether that be a family member or someone that you don't know, a counsellor, etc. And also eat a healthy, balanced diet to ensure that you've got a good mix of all the vitamins and minerals to maintain your immune function as well. Maintaining good sleep patterns can also impact our immune function. So it won't make us feel ill, but it can really affect your immune health in terms of, just how you feel. If you're feeling more sluggish, you're going to maybe opt for higher sugar, fatty foods, to kind of give you that energy boost. Are they really the best nutritional quality of products? Probably not. Are you going to use that energy? So those are the sorts of things that you need to be factoring in. Cytokines are also produced and released whenever we sleep. So this is a type of protein that targets infection and inflammation. So you really need to ensure that you get good quality sleep, and this will benefit our immune function. So tips is, do something relaxing before bedtime, whether that be listening to music that's calming, monotonous, to kind of help you drift off to sleep. Get into a usual bedtime routine. And if you become restless, so, if you go to bed and you can't sleep, your mind's going 90 to the dozen, remove yourself from your bedroom, go downstairs, maybe make a cup of tea, and maybe read a book, and that might help calm your mind a little bit more. Adults should aim to have 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and children should aim for 9 to 14 hours, depending on their age. So that is the last bit of our immune talk. But I just want to highlight that we now have a YouTube channel called We Are ESS, and within that there is a wellness section. So we have a short little clip that gives advice. I think there's 5 tips that will give advice on boosting, or not boosting your immune function, but helping you maintain good immune function. Each week we are going to upload a new one along with this live stream and a leaflet as well. You can also visit Nourish Life, so you'll get lots of advice here, recipes. Our registered nutritionist also gives some nutrition advice, so keep an eye out, log on there. And also you can contact myself at essnutrition@compass-group.co.uk if you have any specific questions, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Then just to touch on next week, we are going to be talking about tips to reduce stress. Thank you.